Hello, welcome back to Addicted to Recovery, the podcast bringing you the truth about addiction. My name's Christopher White. I'm joined as ever by my dear friend, co-host and fellow recovering addict, Max Thomas. How are you, mate?
I'm good, Chris. Yeah, you, mate?
Really well. Just trying to figure out this video, ain't we? Jesus Christ.
We're terrible at this.
Yeah. I mean,
if there's anyone listening out there who knows how to set up a video podcast and wants to help us out,
we need help.
We need all the help we can get.
We nailed the audio. Yeah. We've got that. We know what to do. We can come in here and set it up in about 10 minutes, ready to go. Video, Jesus Christ, camera angle. So look, if you're watching this on YouTube, we put a lot of effort into this, okay? A lot of effort. If it looks bad, we're sorry, we're learning.
At the moment, we've got 10 subscribers on YouTube. So,
have we really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a big audience.
If you listen to this podcast, please go and subscribe because we want to try and get this podcast as far as we can go, push it as far and push the reach as far as can be. So and YouTube.
Yeah, look, video is a big part of that. We've got to record it. We've got to get out there. You know what I mean? Audio's all well and good, but the kids want the video content.
That's it, mate.
So we're going to try and give it to them.
How you been?
I've been really well. I've been so busy.
Yeah,
so busy.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit. But go on.
Yeah, just all aspects of my life.
Yeah,
from work,
full
home. Right? Gym, trying to progress with this podcast.
Yeah,
a lot of listeners know I'm a part of another podcast, and it's just like a lot.
Yep,
a lot.
Yep.
Thankfully, I've got a program to work where things don't get out of hand because it's like I can rein it back in when it gets a certain thing. But bottom line is, I've got a family.
Yep,
and I provide for them. So it's like, there's loads of things I'd like to do, not necessarily in like a recreational sense, but like I'd like to take a leap and maybe go into doing something a little bit different rather than being in the building trade that I've been in for years. It's hurting my body. It's a lot of physical exertion, tiling bathrooms. It's like to make enough money that I need.
Got a graft.
It's full on.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to progress these podcasts and it's like, where do I find the time to do that? I'm getting back from work. I'm sitting on the sofa and I'm just like, done.
Yeah, I get you.
Done. And it's like, there's 2 kids. And I'm like, really happy to see them all.
Yeah. And
I want to play. But it's just like, I've got nothing to give.
So when you were in active addiction, you're just going through the motions and you didn't, now you're clean. You sort of open up. Is this enough for me? Am I content? Can I do more?
Yeah.
We had a conversation in the week, didn't you? And I think you've got so many amazing skills that aren't being utilised at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's where your head's going, isn't it? Really?
Well, that's really nice of you to say that, mate. I appreciate that. And sort of what I would counter to that is I've sort of always had this sense that I was sort of destined for a little bit more. Not that there's anything wrong with what I do, you know what I mean? But the thing that held me back was my addiction.
Yeah.
I couldn't wake up in the morning. I couldn't be accountable. I couldn't turn up. I wasn't honest.
No.
I had the sort of creative spark and the likability and the ability to speak to people. Yeah. But it was just like over a certain amount of time, like you put that many substances on top of a person and I'm riddled with this addiction and this like doubt and worry.
Well, there's no doubt, Chris.
I couldn't function.
There's no doubt that addiction takes away our true self. It did to me for years. Like the stuff that I like now and the stuff that I stand for now is completely different. I know it comes on nicely to what we're going to actually talk about on this episode, but I was being someone who I wasn't internally. That wasn't me. Even like down to, I don't know, just like I said, the stuff that I stood for, my beliefs in society. Like I sort of was just going along with the ride because like my peers and the people that I used to hang around with, that was their beliefs. And it then became my belief. I didn't really, even internally, I think I knew that I didn't agree with some of the stuff they were saying, or I didn't enjoy some of the activities they were doing, or all that sort of stuff. I just went along with it.
Yeah, you were all in.
I was all in, and today's so different. I think the freedom I'm getting being 5 years clean now is that I am proud of who I am. And if I want to, like with my lawn or my gardening, whatever, do you know what I mean? Like maybe before, I love nature and being out in nature, and all that sort of stuff. But before, I wouldn't not admitted it, But I'd have thought, I don't know.
Yeah, this person's not into that, so I'm not even going to mention it.
No, I'm not embarrassed about it, but like, just, I'm proud of who I am now.
I feel them feelings, and I felt them feelings a lot growing up. So I had a close group of mates, really close, and to a certain extent, I wanted to do the things that they were doing, but then sometimes I was just like, I'm just doing this because this is what they want to do.
Yep.
But after a little while, that was my whole identity. I would then do them things even when I weren't with them. It was like I just sort of absorbed other people's beliefs and interests and ran with it because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And all the things that I did want to do, I would sort of keep it quiet. Or there might be like one person that I related to on a level, on like a subject matter that I would never tell my real mates. You know what I mean? And we could like geek out about something. Yeah. But it was like they never knew I was doing that because I felt like I had to keep up this persona.
That's it.
And it wasn't even real. Like now, like we just said, I'm the person who I truly am.
Yeah.
I'm still mates with them same people, and I speak about the things, and even some of them are like, oh yeah, I like a bit of that as well. It was just like I was scared to let people see who I really was.
I know it happens a lot in school, but I used to love like creative writing and being really expressive with my writing. That's why I tried to do journalism at university. And that went
quite the poet, I hear.
No, I love my poetry. That's a prime example. I love my poetry, and but at school I was just embarrassed to admit that. Do you know what I mean? I thought the judgment, and I know it happens a lot in schools, but I just felt that overwhelming. I can't show these people that I really enjoy Shakespeare or poetry or creative writing.
Yeah.
I just couldn't bear
because as from your warped perspective, you're thinking that's not cool.
Yeah.
I'm not, but you never know. It might have been like, oh mate, that's really good.
Yeah.
Just stifled. It's just fear. It's pure fear.
And I say to my kids now, because we say, oh, he's cool. And I always say, what is cool? Because like, that word is just bandied about. And like, I used to use it all the time. Like for me now, cool is someone who is comfortable in their own skin.
100%.
That is it for me.
100%.
And it's because I've always wanted to be cool. But
cool is no one specific thing. It is exactly like you said. Someone who's humble.
Yeah.
Who knows who they are.
Yeah.
They know what they like. And they unashamedly pursue that.
Yeah.
That's cool to me. And it could be in a variety of different fields.
Definitely.
Funny enough, we just mentioned the word humbly. So humility is a huge part of the 2 steps that we're going to be talking about today.
It is indeed, yeah.
So the last 2 we touched on, 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Now we're moving on to 6 and 7. And I feel like it's about time to revisit a couple of steps. And these are 2 really big ones. Yeah. So in the original text, like from the original big book, the AA book, step 6 and 7 were 2 paragraphs.
Right.
Very small by volume, literally 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
But huge.
Huge, yeah.
In relation to what happens in an addict's or an alcoholic's life by working step 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Right. So step 6 is, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character.
Yep.
Right. So we've figured out basically what our defects of character are by doing a step 4.
Yep.
We've written down all the things that are questionable, objectable, the things we don't like, the things that other people don't like, the things that are bad, basically.
Yeah.
And I just got a little list of defects of character here for some examples. So resentment, anger, fear, cowardice, self-pity, self-justification, ego, guilt, dishonesty, impatience, greed, hate, control, and perfectionism and intolerance.
Is that my list?
That's your list. And then mine is, he's perfect. I'm joking.
Right. You read that out, and we've not really had much of a chat before we're doing this episode, right?
No, not at all.
And you've read that out because that's a list that you've made.
Yeah.
But that was basically my list.
Yeah.
Which is, and it's quite a common theme, isn't it? Like you speak to people, not most, but a lot of the defect of character list that you hear when you talk to other people who are doing step work is very similar.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
Of course they are. It's like, look, for me, a lot of them things, well, some of them things were life skills.
Yep.
It weren't necessarily, I didn't know it was a defect of character.
No.
It was something that I learned to do because I felt like I needed to protect myself.
Yep.
And they just get bent out of shape over time because they're not serving me.
No.
So it's like, for example, dishonesty.
Yeah.
Huge defect.
Massive,
for me.
Yeah, same.
Huge, right? The levels of dishonesty that I have been a party to in my life, it's just been like crippling. It was the thing that really brought me to my knees.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't lie. It was lies upon lies upon lies. And not just outright lies, dishonesty by omission, not telling things that I should have told.
Yeah.
Keeping stuff to myself.
Yeah.
And
exaggerating as well goes into
exaggerating fits into that category. And then even now I'm clean, I would say probably about 80% of what I said when I was using was a lie. Now I'm probably at about 5%.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
progress.
I'm moving in the right direction, but it still creeps up.
Yeah.
I heard something great on one of these old speaker tapes, and it was like, why do we still lie from time to time?
Yeah.
And he had a great little analogy. He's like, because I think what it is my ego never knows when it's going to need a really good one. So it keeps in practice a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Just so it's prepared for when it needs a really good one.
Mine's exaggeration nowadays.
Yeah, me too.
Or stupid stuff like I'll be talking to a mate wherever. Have you seen that latest June movie? For example?
My God, this is one I do all the time. I shared it in a meeting last night. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's great.
Ain't seen it.
No, I've not seen it.
Me neither.
What the fuck is that about? Do you know what I mean?
I know.
And then there's a second or third question.
Yeah. Oh, what did you think? Who's your favourite character? Yeah.
What do you think happened to Annabelle? Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh dear.
I do
that now.
I do it.
Yeah.
But you know what I have caught myself doing lately?
Why is that though? Where's
Honestly,
it come
mate,
from?
I think it's just hard. It's just hardwired. Yeah, it's to feel part of.
Yeah.
It's to feel part of.
Or the opposite.
You don't want to feel left out.
Don't want to feel left out, yeah.
Don't want to feel left out. Which is really immature. When you think about it, it's childish behaviour.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
Because I used to do this stuff when I was a kid, right? And get caught in the lie.
Yeah.
And I would die with that lie. Or nah, and they know I'm lying. They know I'm lying. All I'm doing is digging myself a deeper hole. Holding your hands up is so freeing, right? So I've done it recently. I'll say something, and then someone says, all right. And then I'll be like, hang on a minute. I lied just then. I haven't done that. I'll be on the golf course, yeah?
And they look at you like
I'll make a 7, yeah?
Right.
And I'm like, put me down for a 6. And I'm like, on the next tee, that was a 7 on that last hole, mate. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't sit with myself. Yeah. It's uncomfortable to be in that position.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, when we had substances and other things to lean on, that shame and guilt and remorse or like pity that you felt, you could just put something on top of it to bury it. Today, I haven't got that. And I'm glad I haven't got that because it's like you become accountable. If you want to sit, if it doesn't sit right with you, you have to voice it. And it's like freeing.
Yeah. I remember I used to lie all the time about if someone used to ask me how things at home and things were terrible at home, right? Yeah, great. And we did this and went out to the park and all that sort of stuff. And it's just, do you know what I mean? To cover up that. There's a lot of lying to cover up guilt, Chrissy.
Yeah.
But also, I see honesty now as, when I talk to my sponsees all the time about this, right? There's dishonesty, telling lies, exaggerating, whatever it is. There's also being honest about how you're feeling as well.
Of course.
How are you today, Max? Yeah, I'm great. When internally I'm dying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is like a self-honesty, I suppose it is. But that was a massive one of mine as well. People used to say to me, how are you? I'm great.
Fine.
And literally I might have just walked out of a house where there was plates being thrown. Do you know what I mean? And it was just that you're living or how's the relationship at home or whatever it is. How's the relationship with the kids? Yeah, brilliant. Never been better. And
it's great. Kids are great.
On its arse. And I've got sponsees now and previous sponsees who the big change in their recovery came when they started to be honest. And I suppose I learned to be honest in the rooms.
So did I.
In the rooms by sharing openly and honestly.
Mate, literally go all the way back to treatment. I think I've touched on this before. it was like the assignment I got given was about honesty, because straight away they clocked my bullshit.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
I had I took an iPad in there with me.
Yeah.
So 7 o'clock, it wasn't 7 o'clock. I think it's about 10 o'clock. It was like lights out, your phones go back into the office. You're not allowed your phone overnight. No screens, telly goes off, remote goes in the safe in the office.
Yep.
Right. And it's for a reason. You know what I mean? So you can switch off. And I, during one of the groups, I walked into the office and I was like, oh, can I get my iPad? I'm going to get some literature up. And this was genuine. I was going to play something because I'd done a bit of NA and I had a couple. I was like, I wanted to show everyone this thing, right? So I got it out, played it in the group, and they didn't ask for it back. Right?
Yeah.
So I tucked it up in my room.
Right.
I was like, nice.
Yeah.
I'll watch a bit of Netflix tonight in bed.
Yeah.
Next day, where's your iPad, Chris? And I was like, I'll give it back, didn't I? Like, couldn't just say, fuck, here it is in my room.
Yeah.
I helped them look for it.
Yeah.
And I knew where it was.
Yeah.
It was in my top drawer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So straight away they're like, no. If you're still behaving like this, this is not going to work, mate.
No.
You have to be honest if you want to stay clean.
Yeah.
So it was like straight away, I realized that was going to be my biggest defect and it was going to be the thing I had to do the most work on. And I still struggle with it today.
I do. Like another scenario for me, right? And I'm just thinking as we're talking, like if my wife or whoever, have you replied to that email or have you paid that parking?
Oh my God, yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, done.
Why are you questioning me on that again? And I've not done it.
No.
I've not done it. And I think that boils down to me being maybe feeling like not worthy. Do you know what I mean? And I should have done it.
Yeah.
I should have done it. So I'm going to blag that I have done it.
100%. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it's me
feelings of inadequacy. Yeah. Because you haven't done the task.
Haven't done it. So
that you should have done.
Yeah. Then I'm quickly on the trying to pay the bill. Do you know what I mean?
To get it done. Instead of be like, I'll do that now. Even still, like, because I know my missus is like got a way of just like, I know she's like, so have you done that?
Yeah.
And if I say no, sometimes it's better for me to go, yeah, it's done, then do it on the sneak.
Yeah.
Sometimes that works better, right? Even though yes, technically it's dishonest, it's almost like it's fuel on the fire. If I say no, I forgot. So there's a fine line to that one.
Right.
From my perspective.
Okay.
Because it's like, she had a tough day. Sometimes I think, right, I'm out grafting all day. That's hard work. Looking after an 8-month-old baby is hard work, right? Running the house. She's got to drop my oldest off, pick him up at a certain time. I don't know how that baby's going to be behaving. Is he going to be a good boy today? Is he teething? Is he going to be screaming his head off? He doesn't scream his head off, but is he going to be antsy and she's going to have to give him constant attention? I don't think I could do that. So it's like, when there's a simple task that I said I was going to do and I should have done by now, when she asked me if I've done it and I haven't, I don't want to, it's like, what is it in step 9? Except when to do so would injure them or others.
Yeah.
That sort of falls into that category for me a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Quickly jump on it, get it done, no harm done.
I was thinking, what do you reckon triggers it? Do you reckon, because addicts, I'm just thinking like me compared to my wife, for example, if I say she's genuinely forgot to do something and I say, did you do that? And I would say, yeah, when I've not done it. And she would say, no, I've not done it. I forgot. Right. So I think with addicts, are we hypersensitive? Well, we are. I know we're hypersensitive over our feelings. So when she asked me, I think a sense of inadequacy comes up, a very strong feeling. So my response to that is defect of character, lie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To deal with that strong feeling of inadequacy. She's not feeling that, my wife, because she's not an addict, right?
No.
Because and all these, I really do think like these defects, which we've spoken about, and we're going to come on to a few more. They're triggered by another feeling that we're very sensitive from.
Of course, but it's like I said at the beginning, life skills hardwired into you.
Yeah.
They're defense mechanisms.
Yeah. That's the great. Yeah.
It's a defense mechanism that you've built up. It's like a callus that you've built up over time, and it's just knee-jerk reaction. Yeah. That's default answer to that question.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to be wrong. I don't like to be wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't like to let people down, especially now where I'm living this spiritual life where it's like, do the next right indicated thing.
Yeah.
when I fall short, it's painful.
Yeah.
So I try and worm my way out of it.
Yeah.
And that's just hardwired in me. And look, we've spoke a lot about defects, I mean, dishonesty in particular, because I know it's a big one. It says in the step, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character.
Yep.
This is not something we can do by ourselves.
No.
Right? God, higher power, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
We can't stop doing this stuff just as much as we couldn't stop taking drugs by ourselves.
Yep.
We have to allow a power to do it for us.
Yep.
But look, like John said, God don't set my alarm clock.
No.
If we don't put in the action, nothing happens. So it's like...
But take my example of God, Chrissy. So my take on a higher power is the rooms of recovery.
Yeah.
So
rooms in the fellowship.
In that instance, me having a platform in a room to share honestly has taught me to be honest.
Of course.
Right? So that effectively is what you're talking about in step 6, isn't it?
Of course it is. Look, if you're going to a meeting every week and you're sharing the same shit and you're not changing, you're going to get sick of that. And you're going to start changing your behaviour because you don't want to be sharing that same stuff and making yourself look an idiot.
They'll call you out.
Of course they will.
Yeah.
Like, mate, 4 times in a row, you've said the same thing. You need to put some action in, mate.
Yeah.
What about try this?
Yeah.
Try this. For me, God works through people, right? If you believe the literature, like I do, we're all God's kids. Yeah. God speaks to me through people and situations. Something will arise and it's just too much of a coincidence for me to ignore.
Yeah.
And I take them little signs and them little moments and I run with them. It's almost like we had Nick on a few weeks ago, right? And I spoke about it when we had him on. He was the one that really kickstarted my recovery this time round. Yeah. And it was that simple thing where I was going to see him in a professional capacity and he's like, I'll see you in a meeting, mate. You know what the solution is.
Yeah.
I don't want to take your money off you. And I was like, oh yeah. Of course, I do know what the solution is. I've been to meetings before, but it was just like blocked out. So that for me is one of God's kids in Nick reaching out to me,
of course,
telling me something that I already knew in a way that I needed to hear it at that time.
100%. There was a lady, I'm not going to name names, when I was really struggling. Me and my wife were going through some real bad times, and this was before we got some external help around it. But I spoke to her at a meeting about it. I said that she could see. I was early on in recovery at this point, expecting things to change really quickly, even though the damage I caused was horrendous. And I was just saying, look, we're really struggling still. She just gave me some advice around it. One, to listen more, and are you doing enough for her? And it was just, we sat down for about half an hour. But for me, that's another example where a higher power has come in and helped me on my journey. Yeah. And I've had so many of them along the way, mate.
It's constant. It's literally constant.
Yeah.
I had a couple of real bad days at work. Yeah. Just like hard work.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to you. The tiles are really far away from where I was working. They're really heavy. So I was like physically, just moving the things was a nightmare. And I'm going to cut them and they're like chipping and breaking and they've got to take more up. And it was like, I was getting stressed. And I went and I was like, right, tools down for a minute. Went and drank a nice big glass of water. I turned the van on, put the air conditioning on. I was hot. Got myself like regulated my temperature, prayed, meditated for 15 minutes, had something to eat, another nice big drink of water, went back to work. I was like a different person.
Yeah.
Paused, stopped. Before it's just like, go, gotta go. And then just getting more and more and more wound up.
It's great though, mate, isn't it?
This has taught me to just stop. There's nothing I can do. Like serenity prayer is key to me, right? Accept the things I cannot change. And the courage to change the things that I can. So it's like, I can't change the fact that them tiles are there and I've got to get them up there. I can't change the fact that they keep breaking. What I can change is the way I react to it.
Yeah.
Slow down. You're going to be all right.
Yeah.
And I plodded along for the rest of the day. I went back in with a fresh attitude. It was a really nice morning. I think it was yesterday. And I woke up an hour earlier because I knew that this job was going to test me. Right. Yeah. And I went and sat out in the garden and I done like a 20-minute meditation listening to the birds chirping.
Love that.
And I went to work serene, mate. Serene.
Yeah.
I took a little bit of extra time. I worked my program around the situation. And like, lo and behold, yesterday and today, it's not been so stressful.
What are the big defects we got in there, mate?
Look, mate, one that I really wanted to touch on, control.
Cool, crikey.
Massive for me.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, it's one that I still bat massively today, to be honest. Because I can act like a child, Chris, is the honest answer. There was like a little example when I went up to, so say on a Saturday, prime example for me on a Saturday. So I wake up on a Saturday morning and this is like recent, do you know what I mean? And I've got this day mapped out in my head, how I want the day to go. And say a curveball comes in and just my reaction is just...
This is unacceptable.
It can be just like childlike, like a 5-year-old's reaction to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or whatever it will be. And yeah, control is something I need. I work on basically. I'm definitely not a pro at.
Do you think you got better?
Definitely better. But it's one of those defects which it takes time. It takes time. Like you said, when these things are ingrained into you.
Yeah.
To try and control every situation and control people around you, even their reactions to stuff. Like me and my wife speak sometimes. I'm trying to control the reaction she has to what I'm saying.
Yeah, and if she reacts the way that you didn't think she was going to, why are you doing that?
Then I make her feel bad, but it's her reaction.
Yeah.
Like, that's how deep it can get.
We are nuts, ain't we?
We are, mate.
We are nuts. Well, look, funny enough, right?
It's hard work.
Control for me, I try and control every single detail, more so when I'm living in active addiction, even down to the way that I'm feeling. Yeah. That's why I use substances, because I had a particular little combination of substances that I could take and I knew how I was going to feel.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, if I'm feeling this, I take that. If I'm feeling that, I take this. And it was like, I was constantly just trying to regulate the way I felt.
Yeah.
That's like fundamental stuff, not just like what you're doing and what I'm doing, how I'm actually feeling. And I wanted to feel good at all costs. And I think that's pretty much the foundation of addiction for me.
Yeah.
I want to feel good at all costs and I'm willing to do anything to get it.
And normally it's a quick fix to feel good, isn't it?
Of course it is. And it doesn't work. It's an illusion. Yeah. I never felt good. I literally never felt good. That's a lie. I felt good sometimes, nowhere near enough. I feel much better now by not putting any substances in me. So yeah, control's huge. We're trying to control my kids. Trying to control, like,
that's a big one.
They're children.
Yeah.
My son is 5 and my other one is not even 9 months yet. It's going to be 9 months next week.
Yeah.
And I think I've got the ability to control the way they feel and the way they should behave and the way they should act. Yeah. There's like, I'm trying to teach them to be polite and have the right morals and values. And there's a certain amount of discipline. I'm not like Mr. Drill Sergeant trying to make them do exactly what I want. But at times I fall short and I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing this. And it's like, thankfully it's not too much for my kids because I'm pretty chilled when it comes to my boys. I don't let them do whatever they want. But I think a lot of that comes from the way I was parented.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a really strict dad.
Yeah.
And look, I love my dad to bits. We talk every day on the phone. We had a great relationship. And he did a great job raising us from where he come from, the position he put us in. I'm not going to sit here and talk bad about my dad at all.
No.
But some of the things he done were questionable because it was like just too much, too strict, to do this. Like,
same. What
he used to say, it was like, if I say something, and he was like, if I say jump, you say how high.
Yeah. Drill sergeant
moves, right? And we were all really polite. Other people's parents used to comment all the time, oh, you're such polite boys. I'm like, because I'm terrified of my dad. Like,
same as me.
And that's just a fact. So now what I'm trying to do with my boys is manage my control, first of all, because it's a huge defect of character. Not take it to the level that my dad did, but not at the same time. I see some parents that just let their kids do whatever they want, and that's no good for them.
Yep.
Kids need a certain amount of discipline, and they need a certain amount. They need boundaries. Otherwise, they're not going to be equipped to live life. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm trying to find that middle ground, balance, right?
But what's that tapping into, that control with your kids around that? Because I'm very similar around that, Chrissy. Is it like an expectation?
I think so.
And that expectation is going to make you feel good inside? It's...
You know what I put it down to? So like I just said, that I don't want to be how my dad was.
Yeah.
It's almost inevitable.
Yeah.
That we're going to... Because that's all I know. Because that's what was done. That's how I was treated and how I was raised. So that's fundamental in me. It's almost like something would happen. I'd be like, oh, my dad wouldn't like that. I used to see people like, I would bump into someone and I'd be like, oh, my dad wouldn't like this geezer. So I don't like him. Or I've got a little bit of animosity towards him because I know my dad won't like him. Because they're the people that raised me. They're the people that taught me. My formative years were shaped by these people. Yeah. So no matter how much I don't want to be like that, unfortunately, to a certain extent, I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I couldn't agree more. We've got very similar when it comes to the upbringing, mate.
Very similar. How'd you get on with patience and tolerance?
Better, much better now. And again, the fellowships taught me that through sponsoring, really. A lot of it. Holding service positions like secretariat meetings, newcomer rep, speaking to newcomers. Because I say patience around my kids. Like when I'm tired, I'm terrible.
Yep.
My tolerance levels are terrible when I'm tired. But I'd say I've got a lot more time for a lot more people nowadays.
Yep.
Especially around newcomers and sponsees. I wouldn't have even got it.
No.
Why am I giving you my time? Why am I being patient if they're struggling not to get a point in the step work? Or now I'm there to explain it rather than come on, get with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's definitely been a change in me because I was that guy. Definitely. Why are you not getting this like I'm getting it? I'm just more open-minded, I suppose. One of the spiritual principles around that sort of stuff, and with that, I've just slowed down a lot. And by slowing down, you become more patient, more tolerant. Definitely being a dad. I'd say it sneaks up on me again. I'm not fixed. I'll never be fixed.
No.
But it's not a major one for me, I wouldn't say.
But you're definitely making progress. Look, same for me. There's a little passage here that I took straight out of our literature that is perfect for what we're talking about right now, yeah. So every now and then I'll act out on a defect, which can be shameful, fill me with remorse. But I don't give up. I made a commitment to my recovery. I keep taking steps forward, even though I've taken one or more backwards. We're looking for gradual improvement, not instant faultlessness.
Yeah. A big one for me, I'd be tired. And bedtime, kids go to bed. And you've asked them 5 times to brush their teeth. Yep. Asked them 5 times to get into bed. Read 2 books, and they're still...
You've called me about this before.
8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And the right thing to do is obviously just sit it out and be patient and tolerant. And many a time have I gone absolutely mental.
Yep.
And then I go downstairs like a child, and it's because again I want my time. It's selfish is a massive one of my.
Look, it almost doesn't even need mentioning.
No,
this whole disease is a selfish, self-centered.
I want to go downstairs and watch my TV, and I'm tired, and then after I kick off, I'll go downstairs and I'll feel absolutely terrible about it.
Yeah,
and it's like you should never send.
You shouldn't beat yourself up about stuff like that because at the end of the day, that's just human nature. Yeah. If I say to you, Max, can you pass me that over there 5 times? The 6th time, I'm going to like, Max, pass me that thing. I've asked you 5 times. Yeah. It's like, that's just human nature. Yeah, so don't beat yourself up too much about that, whether it's your kids or not. Repeating yourself multiple times is frustrating.
I think that I don't do it as often now.
No.
You know what I mean, and I really try or even just say, I need to go downstairs now.
Yeah.
Instead of kicking off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because when I'm angry, you say things when I'm angry with anyone, you say things that you don't mean a lot of the time. Those things are painful. And then once I start feeling that pain, if I've spoken to my kids badly or whoever it is badly, that's another thing I need to deal with as an addict. You know what I mean? I need to, because I'm hypersensitive over that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I might go downstairs and eat a pack of biscuits. You know what I mean? I don't want to be doing that anymore.
Self-soothe, yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
Well, look, we've gone over a few defects. For me, you can't talk about 6 or 7 without talking about the other one, right? So step 7, we humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of confusion around this. What's a defect in 6? What's a shortcoming in 7? And the long and short of the answer is, so Bill Wilson, the guy who wrote the steps, he'd been to university and studied English literature, much like you.
Yeah.
And he learned that if you keep repeating the same word, it doesn't read very well. So he picked a different word to describe the same thing.
Is that right?
That's why it's called a defect and a shortcoming. Because the way they taught him in school is you would never use the same word in 2 following sentences.
Good job you're here, mate, innit?
Sort of.
Fountain of knowledge.
Sort of. Mate, I do a lot. I listen to a lot of stuff. I've gone right deep on the history of this stuff. It saved my life. I wanted to know. I want to know how.
No, that's great though, mate, because I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's literally, so it was like.
So read step 7 again?
Apparently, so step 7 is we humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings.
Okay.
So 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, straight away, we humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings.
Yep.
So now we're aware of our character defects. We've worked step 6. We've got to the point where we're entirely ready to have them removed. There's not much, pause that. There's a spiritual preparation in this step. Yeah. We have to find out what the word humbly means. So the definition of humbly is in a way that shows or suggests a modest or low estimation of one's importance. So we asked in a way that shows or suggests a modest or low estimate of my importance for him to remove our shortcomings. It's basically what it's saying. Right? The whole thing boils down to 2 words for me. Let go. Let go. Get out of the way. Our way of doing everything up to this point, when we reach this step, hasn't worked.
No.
We probably tried stopping using on our own. We probably tried using successfully on our own. Didn't work.
No.
We tried stop using on our own. Didn't work. Now we've come in here. We've let a higher power into our life. And by the way, talking about higher power coming into our life, I can't work step 7 unless I've got a good solid step 3. Right? The faith, the trust, the hope in a higher power that I developed in step 3. There's no way I'm doing a step 7 unless I've already got that faith.
True,
So I can't get rid of these things on my own.
No.
I need to ask my higher power to remove them. And like you said, if you revert it back to the rooms, you need to bring these things to people. Get advice. Put in action. And slowly but surely, like it just said, we're looking for gradual improvement, not instant faultlessness. And put in the action.
It's not a click of the fingers from like when I first came around and read these stuff, because when you go to meetings, they're up on the walls or wherever, on the floor, the steps are. And I just thought it was an overnight jobby. Do you know what I mean? What I've learned is that these subconsciously, these shortcomings, these defects, they're slowly being removed. By doing service, by going through the steps, by speaking to your sponsor, by becoming a member of a home group, by sharing honestly in the meetings. All these things that are these suggestions that you hear at the start is all part of that journey of having the shortcomings removed for me. Because making teas and coffees, we spoke about it before, definitely it changed me as a person. I know it's something so small, and at the time you're thinking, this is not changing me. It made me a better, more open, more humble, nicer person. Chris, when I came in here, mate, on day 1, I was a selfish, feared up, egotistical, horrible person, really, inside. That is where I was.
That's not the backside, no.
No, but today, I am a completely different... I'd like to say I'm a nice guy today.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And that is what I'm talking about. So this is the process. It's not an overnight thing. It's not a click of the fingers thing. It takes graft. It takes effort. It takes commitment. It takes getting involved, getting right in the middle of the boat to have these shortcomings removed. That's my experience around it.
Of course it does. And so basically, right, I heard something that's actually wrong, but it made sense to me. Right. So it was a lady, she was doing an NA share. I was listening to it online. And she said the difference between a defect in 6 and a shortcoming in 7. Everyone's got defects of character, it becomes a shortcoming when you act out on it.
Right.
And I was like, I said it to my sponsor, and he was like, well, technically that's wrong for the reasons that I just said.
Yeah.
Bill Wilson just used a different word to describe the same thing. But that really made sense to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's got defects. When you act out on it and you should know better, you've fallen short. So that's a shortcoming. And I really like that.
Thing is, though, I act out and I act out on most of my defects.
Of course you do.
So the defect is the shortcoming for me.
Yeah. Of course it is. But this is what I'm saying. When you act out on it, it's like, what do we do, right? For every defect, there's an opposing spiritual principle that you can apply.
Yep.
So if you're struggling with dishonesty, practice honesty.
Yep.
If you're struggling with greed, be generous.
Yeah.
There's different ways. It's literally, right, the way I like to look at 6 and 7, it's like a scale. Go on, mate.
Sorry to interrupt. And I suppose that's what I've done over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But subconsciously doing
it. Slowly but surely, by putting in action every day.
Yeah.
They've slowly been taken away.
Yeah.
Or not taken away, they're less and less prominent in your life.
Yeah.
I like to look at it as like a scale, yeah? Defects over here, spiritual principles over here. And it's like, when my defects are getting a bit heavy, I need to apply more spiritual principles, right? And it's all about balance. I'm not going to ever be rid of these things, a defect, a shortcoming, whatever it is.
Yep.
I'm never going to be completely rid of it.
No.
But if I get to the point where I'm letting them run my life and I'm acting out on defect after defect after defect, pretty soon my life's going to be unmanageable. Yeah. Just because I haven't put a substance in me, I'm going to be back in that same mindset that I was when I first come through the door.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is why regular meeting attendance, talking to your sponsor, working with sponsees, being of service, helping others, it keeps you aligned with this stuff. I can't be a good, well-standing member of my fellowship and act out on defects 24/7.
No.
I'm going to get found out in 2 minutes. And that's not what I want. I came here to change. I have changed, but going back to where I come is not off the table.
No.
I have to keep doing this stuff every day. And if I let it slip for a little while, it gets really, really painful. And I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there, mate.
No. Fear was a massive one for me, Chris.
Yeah, fear is huge.
Just like scared of just life generally. And I remember when I first come into meetings, I didn't share for 3 months. I couldn't look people in the eyes. I was just trying to work out what the opposite of fear is. Is it confidence? Or along those, I don't know. Maybe we can Google it, but
courage.
Courage. Of course it is.
So I went to Google it and then I remembered I know.
Yeah. Again, found
courage.
Knowledge. Yeah, of course. So what I'm trying to say, you're feared up in the meeting, your chest pumping because you want to share, you want to get honest, you want to tell people about what's going on internally for you. The opposite of fear is courage, open your mouth, share.
And that's why it's in the Serenity Prayer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's why, for example, doing a secretary position is combating that fear because it takes courage to sit up the front and control the meeting and tell people all that sort of stuff. And again, I didn't go into secretary position, for example, thinking, I'm going to combat my fear today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to get more courageous, but it's just in the process. Once you talk about it, it's just an amazing thing, isn't it?
Of course there is, but you know what? There's levels to this stuff. So now I'm known as a podcaster.
Right. Tyler.
A Tyler and a podcaster. Right? So what I'm saying is I'm supposed to be good at talking.
Yeah.
Because I do podcasts.
Yeah.
So someone asked me to share at Chelmsford meeting last night. And I sat down and I felt all these expectations on me. Yeah. Because people are like, oh, this is going to be good. This guy talks. Yeah. And I'm like, whew. And after, John was in the meeting, sponsor John, and I had a chat with him after and he was like, brilliant, mate. And I was like, really? I thought it was a bit clunky and like doubting myself and a little bit of that feared up as I sat down in the meeting. Instead of, I know my story. I'm confident in telling it.
Ego there as well, though, mate.
Ego.
Yeah.
I've got a good message. I know I've got a good message. And then people are sharing back like, you got a great message. You do so much for NA. You do so much service. And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
But you could have applied, not saying you didn't, it was probably a great share, but if you'd have opened that up and said what you just said to me, I bet you would have been a lot more comfortable there.
Said it at the beginning.
Did you? Yeah.
No, I did not, mate. I fronted it. But it came out okay. But you know what I mean? If I would have said, by the way, I'm a little bit feared up right now because I feel like there's expectations on me because I do this for a living. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. 100% it would have come off me. Yeah. Honesty, humility. Yeah, mate. For every defect, there's a spiritual principle that you can apply. And there you go. Prime example, less than 24 hours ago, I had an opportunity to apply a spiritual principle and I didn't take it. I went with pride and ego. Yeah. There you go.
Crazy, aren't we?
We're absolutely nuts. But look.
But we're aware though, man. And we've got a platform to fucking learn from our mistakes.
Unfortunately, self-awareness availed us nothing, right? Yeah. We have to put the action in on a daily basis. And look, I do. I know you do. And there's thousands of other people out there that are doing it. Unfortunately, there's also thousands that are not. And they're the ones I'm worried about. I've recently taken on a guy, new sponsee, and through this podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, reached out to me. He listened to the other podcast I was on. He was like, I've been listening to that one for a little while. I'll mention it. He's like, I've been listening to that Josh James show for a while. Now I'm addicted to recovery. Yeah, no, now I'm addicted to recovery. Right? Yeah, and I was like, brilliant. So he's been reaching out back and forth and he was really feared up and he was like, mate, like, will you take me through this work? Can we do this together? He is on it. Yeah. He's calling me every day, a couple of times a day. He's messaging me.
Nice.
He had a meeting yesterday and a meeting today at the Dry House.
Wow.
In Southend. And he's just waiting for a bed. He has jumped straight on it.
Awesome.
And I'm so proud of this kid. Like, he keeps ringing me like, oh, sorry, does he keep ringing you out? And I'm like, mate.
That's what it's all about.
Ring me.
Yeah.
If you don't ring me, then I'm worried. You ring me as much as you need to.
Nice, mate.
And it's like being of service. It's like one of the biggest spiritual principles we've got is out of self, into service.
Yep.
Helping others.
Yep.
Trust God, clean house, help others. It just boils down to that. And just another thing that happened yesterday on the way back from the meeting. I spoke to another guy. He's like a mentor of mine. And I explained all that stuff I was telling you about yesterday. And I said at the beginning of the podcast about just feeling a little bit overwhelmed and a little bit trapped and a little bit feel like I could be doing more. Not doing more because I physically haven't got the hours in the day to do more, but I feel like I've got more to give.
Yep.
And he just gave me a really good talk. And he was like, you know what? You need to talk to your missus and you need to say to her, I've got some really hard work to do over this next 18 months, 2 years, however long it takes. You might be seeing me a little bit less than you'd like, less than I'd like, but I need to put this work in now so that we can reap the benefits later.
Yeah.
Not just in a monetary sense, but in just that sense of ease, a sense of comfort, that sense of stability.
Yeah.
I need to work really hard to get it now. And that's just all from this program.
Yeah.
Action. Do the work now to get the benefits later.
Like Stevie said, like on the last episode, this program just opens up so many more doors to explore yourself, like finding your true self. And that's what you're on that journey, mate, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it's just without being clean though, you just
doesn't happen.
No, you're out of the game.
Does not happen.
No.
Without being clean, I can't get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So yeah, I'm filled with optimism at the minute.
Love it.
Filled with it.
Well done,
absolutely brimming with it.
No, it's class.
And for the first time in my life, I really feel like there's nothing holding me back.
Love it.
Nothing holding me back, mate. Coming to the end of the time now, Max.
Yeah.
And
love that, mate.
Great. I love step 6 and 7.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I do get a little bit of fear on talking about it because there's like so many different elements and it's so open to interpretation that I've frozen up when I'm doing step 6 shares and step 7 shares in meetings before. I was a little bit apprehensive about doing this tonight, but hopefully the listeners have got a little bit of an understanding of what step 6 and 7 are about.
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
And on to 8 and 9, which is 2 big boy steps.
Yeah.
We're into the meat and potatoes now, mate.
That's it.
Thanks so much again for co-hosting this podcast with me, mate.
Loved it, mate. You know where to find us, guys. Instagram, we are Addicted to Recovery Podcast. YouTube, we are Addicted to Recovery Podcast. YouTube, you can obviously see the video of the podcast. Insta is loads of updates, and go check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. See you later.
Bye now.